Welcome to this Masterclass Explainer. I am absolutely thrilled to be your virtual Agile coach today, guiding you through a total transformation of your team's quality standards. You know, if you've ever felt that very specific pain of work carrying over from sprint to sprint, or features suddenly failing right after release, you are in exactly the right place. Today, we're taking your definition of done from some dusty, forgotten document and turning it into a dynamic engine for velocity.
All right, let's jump right in with a foundational truth from the legendary W. Edwards Deming. He said, "Without quality, there is no speed." Now that sounds kind of counterintuitive, right? Usually we think that to go faster, we just have to cut a few corners. But in complex product development, whether you're shipping software or launching a marketing campaign, cutting quality just creates this massive wall of rework and technical debt. Eventually, that brings your velocity to a grinding halt. High-performing teams know for sure that investing in quality actually accelerates delivery.
So here is our quick itinerary for today. We'll cover the 90% done trap, defining the DoD versus acceptance criteria, building your shared DoD, enforcing quality gates, and finally, continuous improvement. Let's get to it.
Section 1. The 90% done trap.
Listen, the illusion of being 90% done is just brutal. When work carries over because it's only almost finished, you're silently stockpiling technical debt and literally destroying team trust. Scrum's amazing for iterative delivery, but that exact structure makes it way too easy for little bits of debt to sneak into every single sprint. Maybe the code is written, but the tests aren't run, or the design is done, but the client hasn't actually approved it. That means the increment is completely useless to the customer. It's like packing your bags for vacation, but never actually pulling out of the driveway. And get this, case studies show that a proper, total team quality focus actually leads to a massive 40% reduction in user acceptance testing defects, and it boosts velocity by 20% at the same time. When you stop hiding tomorrow's rework behind today's done label, you spend way less time fixing bugs, lower your support costs, and clear the runway for your team to build cool new futures faster.
Okay, Section 2. Defining the DoD. So what exactly is it? Well, the definition of done is a strict commitment by the developers that creates total transparency about what complete actually means in reality. It's a formal, shared description of the minimal quality standards an increment absolutely must meet to be considered releasable. Think of it as your ultimate quality baseline. If an item doesn't meet this exact definition, no way, it cannot be released. And honestly, it shouldn't even be shown at the sprint review.
By treating these criteria as non-negotiables, you build a culture where quality is a core value, not just an afterthought. A solid definition of done does some serious, heavy lifting. It prevents invisible technical debt from hiding behind done work. It immediately exposes workflow shortcuts. It promotes real discipline in your engineering practices. And if you do end up skipping an item, it acts as a glaring, objective debt signal during your reviews. No more guessing games.
Moving to Section 3, DoD versus acceptance criteria.
Now, this is a super common point of confusion, but the distinction is actually really simple. Your definition of done is global to the team. It applies to everything you do. It focuses on non-functional stuff like security and peer reviews. It remains stable across sprints, and it's assessed at the very end. Acceptance criteria, on the other hand, well, actually, think of them as totally unique to a single user story. They are specific functional requirements that vary per item, and you use them throughout the whole sprint. You need both, but they do completely different jobs.
All right, Section 4. Building your shared DoD.
You really can't just hand down a definition of done from upper management. Data shows that 80% of surveyed organizations define the DoD collaboratively in a workshop. That way, everyone owns it. Step 1 is to get the whole team together and brainstorm context-specific criteria. What does quality mean for us? Step 2, visualize it. Put that checklist on a big poster or pin it to your wiki. Step 3 is gaining absolute, unified agreement on those strict standards.
The really beautiful thing about the DoD is its flexibility. Whether you're a software team or a marketing team, your criteria just need to be specific and testable. A software project DoD is going to look like code peer-reviewed, unit tests written in passing, continuous integration builds passing, and security scans passed. But a non-software project DoD, that might be checked against a style guide, readability test passed, proofread by a peer, and a print-ready PDF created. Every item is a simple yes or no.
Section 5. Enforcing quality gates.
Having the checklist is great, but enforcing it is where the real cultural shift happens.
Product quality and operational excellence are owned by absolutely every employee. You can't just toss it over the fence to a QA department at the end. Total team quality means every single person, developer, designer, writer, owns the outcome.
So what happens when stakeholders push for speed over quality? I get asked this all the time. A deadline is looming, and someone says, just ship it, we'll test it later. You have got to educate those stakeholders on the massive, long-term costs of skipping quality checks. Defective products lead to operational nightmares, expensive recalls, and lost trust. Short-term speed without quality is just a recipe for long-term failure.
To hold the line against that pressure, you have to enforce the DoD at every single stage. Bring it up in sprint planning to make sure you're estimating accurately. Bring it up in the daily scrum to collaboratively solve problems before corners get cut. And, of course, use it as your strict, unyielding gatekeeper for those final sign-offs.
A really smart way to take human error completely out of the equation is to automate. Embed automated tests directly into your CI/CD pipelines. Enforce an 80% code coverage threshold that automatically fails the build if it's not met. Resolve static code analysis warnings automatically. And to keep management in the loop, start tracking a visual DoD compliance score in your tools showing exactly what percentage of stories met every single criteria.
Finally, Section 6, Continuous Improvement. Look, you aren't going to be perfect on day one. When items occasionally get skipped, quantify them as objective debt signals. Track them on a highly visible technical debt register. Monitor a debt burn-down chart so everyone sees the incomplete criteria. And most importantly, tackle those skipped items head-on during your retrospectives. Ask yourselves, why did we skip that peer review, and how do we make sure we don't do it again?
Think of this as an evolving journey over time. In Quarter 1, just establish your baseline DoD criteria. Start simple. By Quarter 2, use data from your retros to refine the checklist, specifically looking at any defects that escaped into production. Then, by Quarter 3, as your team's velocity naturally increases because you've reduced that drag of technical debt, you can afford to tighten the standards even further. I want to leave you with a provocative question for your very next team meeting. Are your completed items actually done, or are they just hiding tomorrow's technical debt? I challenge you to look closely at your current workflow and demand absolute quality before you ever claim a task is finished. Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer today. Now get out there and build a true culture of quality.